You are listening to the Cup of Mets podcast, your one-stop shop for all things New York Mets baseball. Remember to give us a follow on Instagram, YouTube, and X. We are at Cup of Mets. Subscribe to the podcast, whether it be on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And last but not least, download the SeatGeek app and use code Cup of Mets at first purchase to get $20 off. Now, your hosts, Ian Bosniak and Matthew DeSantis.
Season 5, episode 14, Maddie, we have finally reached the All-Star break.
Yeah, I mean, thank God, right? This season has been brutally awful. I'd say from the very beginning when we lost, we were on that, 14-game losing streak?
12, but
12,
it's,
close enough.
Yeah, it's
close
marginal.
enough. But, yeah, some nice time away from the Mets does never hurt anybody.
Yeah. I think everybody could use a little bit of time away. Not only the players, but the fans, especially because I don't know about you. I know that you said the season's been rough, but this feels like it's been 10 seasons in one here in 2026.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it feels like nothing has went right for them from the beginning with all the injuries, but that's no excuse for how bad that they've been. So it was nice going to the game yesterday. That'll definitely be my last game of the year.
Yeah, Maddie, you gave them. I know that you got the tickets from your employer, but you gave them some money, did you not? You got the Goya nachos.
I got the Goya nachos, but they slapped. They really did. They were worth it.
Yeah, thank goodness you left before everything came crumbling down in the ninth.
I agree. And I was listening to it on the way home, sitting bumper to bumper on Cross Island. So that was nice knowing that. I had a feeling that they were gonna blow it.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame because you know what? I think that and I think that we'll touch upon this in a greater detail later on in the year when we start wrapping up this season. Thankfully, there's only 2.5 more months of this nonsense, but I think that yesterday showed at least, Zach Thornton took the bump for his third major league start, and we'll talk about how he absolutely shoved. But I think over the last few weeks, even though the Mets have been losing, even though they enter the All-Star break 17 games under, there really is a reason to look at this club and say, I really do like a few things that are going on, whether it be Juan Soto on his MVP quest in the National League, right? Shohei Ohtani's hurt now. You never know, right? The two youngsters alongside him in the outfield and AJ Ewing and Carson Bench continue to emerge. Zach Short is, no, I'm kidding. And then in the rotation, you got McLean, who's had some hiccups, but he's rebounded nicely. Christian Scott, who has come back from Tommy John and has looked the part. And then you got Zach Thornton. Now, before I say this, I would just like to put this out there. I understand that we've had Kodai Senga and Sean Manaea under contract, and we had David Peterson up until we traded him. But to me, his debut, he made May 20th in Washington. And I know that we spoke about this, right? He gave up a 3-run home run to C.J. Abrams in the first inning, and then he cruised. He only went 4 1/3, but he looked good, right? Then he gets another call up a little over a month later against the Phillies. 6 innings, 5 hits, only 1 run allowed, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts against the Phillies lineup.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, he makes his third start, gets called back up, 7 shutout innings, only allowed 2 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. I mean, listen, there are so many things to like about his performance yesterday. One, I mean, economically speaking, he only threw 82 pitches across 7 innings.
Yeah.
The way that he is able to keep runners off the base paths, utilize all of his pitches, paint the corners, doesn't feel like he has to mesh with the rest of the league and just overpower every hitter possible. Mm-hmm. He knows what he has in his arsenal. and he's not afraid to use any of it. And I just, it's kind of like last year, right? So many times we were like, yo, when are they going to call up McLean? When are they going to call up Tong? When are they going to call up Sproat? It's like, obviously, one pitcher wouldn't have made the difference, but yesterday really makes you think, yo, if they would have just let him maturate in the major leagues after May 20th when he made his debut, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like,
No, for sure. And they've just been shuffling guys for the past, I don't know, month and a half. So hopefully he's here to stay. Honestly, it was great watching him pitch like that yesterday.
yeah, man. Yeah. I think that, and I just, again, I know that I mentioned it, but, having six pitches in your arsenal, right? Really only using four of them predominantly in the cutter, the four seam, sweeper, and sinker. And then he also has a change and a curveball that he, tosses in there. But everything from his arm angle to the pitch movement to where the location. He doesn't walk batters, and that was a big thing. That we were told about him coming up is that he's a controlled pitcher. Like he doesn't walk anybody. Um, so again, just caps off to you, Zach Thornton, because I mean, the Mets right now, obviously pitting with runners in scoring position has been an issue all year long, right? But
Mhm.
the pitching has really been the issue this season. And to see him start his major league career like this really has been, you know, um, unbelievable. And I'm really excited to see what's to come. Andy Green did say post game that he will make, the next start in the rotation. So it looks like the Mets will go to a 5-man rotation for the first time in what feels like forever. But Zach Thornton will remain in the rotation. Thank goodness. Something to monitor, though, which kind of sucks. He did deal with, I'm not sure what type of injury he had last year. What did he have? I don't know, but he had some sort of injury last year, and it limited him to 72 and a 2/3 of an innings pitched. This year across, the minor leagues, he threw 62 in 2/3 of an inning in 14 games. And thus far, he's thrown 17 and a third. So you got to think that the Mets will cap him out or at around like 130, 140. So
Mhm.
I don't expect to see many more 7-inning starts. But dude, you caught a gem yesterday, man.
Yeah, it was a great game. It really was. And where I was sitting, it's perfectly in the shade. Could not complain.
Yeah. Dude, it's been like 100 down here. It's been disgusting.
I'm sure it has.
It's
I'm
been
sure it
gross.
has.
Been sweating just going on my lunch break. But yeah, I mean, again, the reasonings behind the Mets front office and, not trusting their young guys and just going with the washed up vets beyond us. But nonetheless, it looks like Thornton's going to stay. But again, unfortunately, he did not pick up his first win of the season due to Devin Williams didn't have his A stuff. And I'm gonna say this. I don't blame Devin Williams because he's not getting any opportunities, and that's such a thing for closers. He had
Yeah.
such a good stretch for so long, and now he's not getting any opportunities. So his command wasn't there. But then also Francisco Lindor, like, what the hell is going on? Routine ground ball, the shortstop
Yeah, he's
that
terrible on
that would
defense.
have yeah, that would have turned two, and he made his fourth error in what? He's only played 20 some odd games this year?
Yeah, that's crazy. No,
40 games.
yeah. No, that was a horrible error. Horrible.
I mean, dude, that's inexcusable.
I thought like when's enough gonna be enough, man? Like they're literally risking these guys getting hurt. Like they need to capitalize on some of these players. I'm not saying Lindor is one of them, but just saying like you're playing with fire right now, let it like by not trading any of these guys.
I know. I know. Yeah. And I mean, I think that things will maturate. Obviously, the MLB draft was the previous 2 days. So I think that now that that's over with, the teams will focus now on addressing their needs and the sellers will come into the pictures, aka the Mets, right? Um, but Lindor made a crucial error in the ninth inning. allowed the inning to continue. Williams walked in a run. Then there was a blooper that Bench couldn't catch, and I don't blame him. He went all out, couldn't grab it. Red Sox tied the game, and then they took the lead in the 10th inning playing small ball. They moved the free runner over to third. And then the funniest thing is, it's like, yo, we've been complaining about Carlos Mendoza all year. Dude, I was saying right before, Andy Green sucks too. There's a reason why the Padres fired him. And listen, I'm not saying that we never thought we never thought that Andy Green coming in here was going to be any different. They're all puppets for Stearns and this and that, but like, dude, you have in the 10th inning, you have Tyrone Taylor as your free runner on second. Of course you want to win the game. Of course you want to win the game. But Luis Torrens comes up, is supposed to come up to lead off the inning, free runner on second, and you pinch hit Jorge Polanco, who has since returned since the last time we spoke. You pitch hit Jorge Polanco for Luis Torrens. Luis Torrens is an excellent bunter. Would have moved Tyrone to third, and instead Polanco strikes out.
Yeah. No, I mean I knew what was gonna come, what was coming yesterday, so that's why I freaking got the heck out of there.
Dude, it was moronic. When I saw that move, I'm like, all right, when you're on the road and you're up first in extra innings, you're trying to score two. When you're down 1 run in the bottom of the 10th inning, you're trying to tie the game up and send it to the 11th. Mm-hmm. He didn't do that. What was he thinking? Polanco was going to go deep for the second time this year? No. Right? And then Beatty comes up. Beatty sucks too. Pops it up in the infield. And then Bo Bichette, who has had some leg soreness, I'll give it to him. He's played every single game this year. He's had some leg soreness, sat out during the Red Sox series, made 2 pinch hit appearances. He grounded out to end the ball game. Mets lose 3-2. So really a shame that Zach Thornton did not pick up his first win of the season. But nonetheless, congrats to Zach Thornton. Unbelievable start, and really stoked that he's going to have the opportunity to chuck again after the All-Star break, which is really, really nice. And, in the middle of that, Luke Weaver, also another shutout appearance. He has now not allowed an earned run since April 30th.
I know, dude, and he has been one of the bright spots of this team, and there's big discussion to trade him, to not trade him. I personally think you trade him. It's a career year. He's over 30 years old. You can get a haul for him probably, and he's probably the best relief pitcher on the market. So I personally think that I would do it next week.
I mean, listen, we were going to go from yesterday's ball game into the trade talk. So let's do it. I mean, I just said Luke Weaver, right? Hasn't allowed an earned run since April 30th. ERA down to 1.85. It's crazy. At the end of April, his ERA was in the 6s. And now it's down to 1.85. He has a whip that, 0.82. 0.82. His FIP is not much higher than his ERA. I agree with you. You look at the Mets bullpen, and I think I want to preface by saying, you look at 2027, hopefully there is a season. And if there is no, salary cap, right? There are a lot of things to like about the Mets going into next year, right? Yeah. With the young pitching, young outfielders, this, that, and the third. The one thing is that a lot of the Mets' prized pieces at this trade deadline will be relievers, right? But I agree with you. Luke Weaver has been very good in the past. Mm-hmm. A couple years for the Yankees. But right now, you could get a haul for Luke Weaver.
Yeah.
He's under control for another year next year. There are teams that are right in the thick of races that are going to line up to try to acquire him, whether that be the Seattle Mariners, the Chicago Cubs, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Rangers, even the Yankees, right? Like, there are a lot of teams that could use Luke Weaver, and Yeah, you look at this current bullpen and you say, when all is said and done, the Mets could very well just have Devin Williams, Oscar Brasaban, and that's it under control for next year, right?
Yeah.
Reed Garrett coming back from Tommy John, and maybe a Danielle Nunez who started a rehab assignment. Austin Warren went on the IL, so he'll be back. But yeah, the bullpen's going to take a hit, but the bullpen fluctuates year to year.
Yeah.
That the Mets can mix and match. It's time to capitalize on these
Oh yeah, dude.
players.
You capitalize on the players, and then you call up like Jeffrey Yon and like Nate Lavender, who have both been pitching pretty good.
Yeah, I just
At
with Jeffrey Yon, I can't have I can't we can't be 17 games below 500 and him jumping on the strikeouts. It just can't happen.
well,
He may as well go hang out with the Queens crew.
in his case, he wasn't really a part of the 17 games under 500, so he's
Doesn't
playing
matter.
for himself.
Yeah, I don't want to see him throwing a party on the mound though. You know what I mean?
Jeffrey Yon, baby.
Jeffrey Yon. Yeah, but kind of similar to last week, and we'll kind of shifted around. I was going to do this towards the back end, but we did put together a couple mock trades with Luke Weaver. And I think that the potential haul that we're about to talk about definitely shows the value that he has, right? So we did a mock Luke Weaver to the Cubs for Pedro Ramirez, right? Um, Pedro Ramirez is currently no longer a prospect. He went over he graduated from the pipeline, but he's currently on the bench, kind of DHing at some points with the Cubs. He's a second baseman, third baseman, right there. He's blocked by, Mr. Horner as well as Alex Bregman. I don't know. I think that Pedro Ramirez is somebody that, especially if the Mets trade even like a Freddie Peralta, I would target. Obviously, maybe they would want one more piece, the Cubs, but like Luke Weaver under control for next year, their bullpen's really struggling, and they could really use Weaver. So that's one. Another one, the Tampa Bay Rays, sending him to the Rays for their seventh overall prospect, Anderson Brito, who's 22 years old, starting pitcher, and then their 14th overall prospect, Tayton Gray, first baseman outfielder with loads of power. He's only 18 though, drafted last year, so he'd be somebody that you just stock in your pipeline. Another one, this one I really like. Luke Weaver to the Seattle Mariners for their seventh overall prospect, Luke Stevenson, catcher who's 21 years old. I believe he's in Double A. And then left-hander Mason Peters, who's 22 years old, was a draft pick last year. He's somebody that has a wicked arsenal and could really add some nice depth in the system. And then lastly, Texas Rangers. This one I also like because you're bringing in two guys who can immediately make an impact with the club. Weaver to the Rangers for right-handed pitcher Jose Corniel, their fourth overall prospect. He's 23. He's made a start with the Rangers already. Right-handed pitcher Emiliano Teodo, who's 25. He's a reliever. He got called up right before the All-Star break. And then lastly, third baseman Jack Wheeler. He's 20 years old, tons of power. He's their 19th overall prospect. Again, he's third baseman and drafted last year. So those are the types of hauls that the Mets could get. And I think that especially with relievers, it's much different than putting together mock trades for like a Clay Holmes or a Freddie Peralta because, teams sometimes end up with bargains and then sometimes they end up paying quite a bit, right, at the deadline. But the people that are saying hold on to Luke Weaver for next year, I mean, yeah, you got to trade him. You have to.
You got to trade him, and I think those were great trade proposals, but you went on the lighter side. Like, I think, we could get more.
But that's exactly
I
what I
think
mean. It's
I think
hard.
a top 100 prospect is very much in the cards.
Yeah, I definitely think so as well. And I deleted one of them. It was him to the Mariners straight up for their fourth overall prospect. I think he's somewhere in the 60s in the top 100. Michael Arroyo, second baseman outfielder. Um, so I definitely think it's going to be interesting the way that this market match rates because we know that every contender wants bullpen help. And with so many, whether they're top of the division, front runners in the wild card, vying for a wild card, and they're going all in, so many teams are trying to fortify their bullpen. So it's good to note that there are going to be buyers. And, you said it before, Luke Weaver, if not, he's going to be one of the top three arms on the market. come the deadline. So I think that you and I both agree. Trade Luke Weaver. As much as we've enjoyed watching him this year, you gotta.
Honestly, you gotta move as many of them as possible. They should capitalize on Brazaban, even if that's just like a couple lotto tickets.
Yeah. So what do you think about that? Because I am starting to the way that I'm looking at it is so we heard the other night, you actually informed me. I didn't even see the tweet, but there was a trade between who the White Sox and the Pirates had to do
Yeah.
with a 34th overall draft pick, and someone got a left-handed reliever. Apparently, the Mets were pushing hard to trade Brooks Raley, right,
Yeah.
for that pick. Would have been nice. Whatever the case may be, however, we know that Brooks Raley is going to be dealt. He's also a free agent after this year. We also know that a guy like AJ Minter is probably going to be dealt. He's going to be a free agent next year. So outside of Devin Williams and Oscar Brazaban, and then guys that are coming back from the injured list, like a Reed Garrett and a Danielle Nunez and an Austin Warren, they don't really have anybody who has been there and done that. And I'm telling you, I do not believe that this is going to be a full teardown. I really do believe in the Mets in 2027 and beyond, especially because of what we've seen from those three kids I mentioned in the rotation and what we've seen in the outfield and some of the pieces how they've match rated. I just don't think that this is the year. And I
Stupid.
don't want to
Stupid.
tear everything down.
Yeah, but I feel like you're not even you're capitalizing in a seller's market with a
Right.
team that's literally gasping for anything.
Sure, but don't you think that again, you can never have enough pieces, but to fortify the minor league system, you're doing it A for developmental purposes and B to be able to trade some of those guys during the offseason for, a couple pieces because the free agent market's not that great this upcoming offseason. So, when you look at it, if the Mets let's say trade Freddie Peralta, Clay Holmes, Luke Weaver, Brooks Raley, AJ Minter, let's say a Tyrone Taylor. That's six pieces right there. You're bound to get at least
That would be incredible. I would love that.
exactly. And that does not include Brazoban. And Brazoban, I don't think you're just getting a couple lotto tickets. He still
Yeah.
has an option remaining. He's a veteran. He doesn't have a lot of innings under his belt, right? Only 2 years of service time. Like, that's why I just think it might be more beneficial to keep Brazoban,
Yeah.
especially if you plan on contending for next year. But I think that's definitely a conversation that we'll have closer to the deadline. We'll see if there's any chatter about that. Um, but yeah, I mean, we know that some of those arms are going to be dealt. One guy that I did want to talk about, Clay Holmes, right? We have spoken about Clay Holmes. We brought up a couple of mock trades last week. We know that he'll be back after the All-Star break at some point. He's throwing bullpens. He looks good. Um, he does have a player option for next year. He's going to opt out. He, as well as the Mets, have confirmed they have discussed extension talks. What's your thoughts on that?
It very much reminds me of just bad taste in my mouth with Mania. I just
Omar
feel like
Omar's my boy though, man.
no fucking Sean Mania.
Oh, Sean Mania. Oh, I thought you meant Omar Mania. I was like, no,
No,
Omar Mania
no,
is my
Sean
boy.
Mania.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. Coming back from an injury, he's another one I think I would deal to. It's not like we're like itching for his usage right now. We're 17 games under 500. We are not going to make the playoffs. The playoffs shouldn't be even in the thoughts. It should be how could we better the team, better position the team and the organization, including the farm system going forward. And eh, they have to sell off some pieces. They traded a lot of guys last trade deadline. I'm not saying those guys are good. Yes, Jesus Baez. He's almost I think he has 20 home runs down this year.
Yeah.
I bet they wish they can get that trade back.
Yeah.
But they need to replenish some pieces they lost. And the minor leagues, like not looking that good this year. These
Yeah.
guys are aside from a few like a Mitch Voigt, like guys like Ryan Clifford, like he's literally batting like 196. Like ah, they
Yeah.
should have called him up last year. He's
I agree.
he rotted in AAA officially.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, listen, I think that for me, as far as Holmes goes, I think that we have to put into the equation now, especially after this past offseason, there is not a price that you can pay for somebody who has performed in New York. I definitely think that that's something to consider, right? He's performed for the Yankees. He's transitioned over to a starter. He was terrific earlier on this season in 9 starts, right? Going 7 a couple times. No innings limit bogging him down like last season. I think that it really comes down to we see what pitchers are getting now, right? He signed for what was it, $13 million?
Who?
Holmes?
12 million a year.
Okay, 12 million a year. He has to, right? And he is what, 33? He's 33. 2027, he'll be 34. You have to expect that he's going to want another 3-year contract worth anywhere between 16 and $20 million per year. Right? Going into an offseason that you don't know if there's going to be a salary cap. You don't know a lot of things. You don't know which players are opting in, opting out, how much wiggle room you'll have after that. So I think that that is my biggest question is like, what are we able to get him at? Because listen, I would love to have Clay Holmes join the likes of McLean and Thornton and Scott next year. That's a solid 4, right? But to me, I'm looking at it like I'm not trying to get value. Like if there was a stud starting pitcher on the market, right, going into the offseason, like a Tariq Skubal, I would throw him the bag, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd rather throw the bag at him than sign Holmes to $20 million per year, right? So to me, I really think it comes down to what he's asking for and how many years, right? If he only wants, to be signed for 27 and 28, a 2-year extension, that looks a lot different than a 3-year extension. But I think it remains to be seen, especially because, again, I know I've alluded to it last week, but the Shane Bieber trade last year, right? The Guardians got a top 10 prospect in their system for Shane Bieber, who was coming off Tommy John, right? And Clay Holmes is not coming off Tommy John. So I definitely think that that's something to monitor, but the extension talks are interesting, right? Because we know that a guy like Peralta is going to be dealt. There's no extension talk there. But extending a guy that is going to opt out after the season in a Holmes is definitely an interesting conversation and something that, we're either going to find out if they're going to sign him over the next couple of weeks or if that's not happening, he's going to be traded. So it's one of the two.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see there. After Freddie Peralta start the other night, walking 5, even though he only gave up 2 runs, how badly do you think he has tanked his stock?
Horribly. We wouldn't get a top 100 pick prospect for him.
You don't think?
No.
Given
Maybe a fringe, and it would be a 1-for-1, I think.
Which I think I'd still take considering what we've seen this year.
I would just send him to the Dodgers for one of their prospects that are at like 90, like James Tibbs. Slap him at first.
Yeah. It's just crazy, man. It's crazy. I hope that
they'll end up getting a 4th-round pick compensatory for him.
Yeah.
That's good though.
Dude, I really hope that they don't take him to the end of the year just to offer him the qualifying offer because we don't know what the qualifying offer is going to be in the new CBA. And on top of it, I would take a flyer on Peralta at $20-something million. But again, it's just, I don't know. I think that I'm more so in agreement of you just trade him now. Just pretend this year didn't happen.
Yeah. Cut your losses. I mean,
yeah.
Cut your losses and honestly just move them somewhere. Get something back. Get someone's like, I don't know, 8, 16, and 28 prospects. Just bring in something.
Yeah, even if you don't end up with a top 100, just get like a haul of kids and players that you feel like you can develop.
Exactly.
Last guy when it comes to trade talks, and this was an interesting one. This has emerged since the last time we spoke about Francisco Alvarez. That is tricky, right? Because we don't couple him in with the Beatty, Vientos, Mauricio, because he plays a different position. He's a catcher, right? And we know that he has power. We know that he can also hit the ball hard, right? And catchers typically don't profile as offensive pieces in your lineup unless you're Will Smith or you're Adley Rushman or you're, I'm missing a couple big ones, but like, you know what I mean? Like, unless you profile there, Drake Baldwin. He's garnering interest though. Again, he's only 24 years old, right? 24. Yep. He'll be 25 later, I think in December, November.
Mhm.
Would you trade Francisco Alvarez?
Yeah, I would. I mean, if the offer and the prospect package was right, I mean, he shows that when he's healthy, he could contribute, but when is he healthy? Um, and I've said this, I think I said it on the last pod. I really hope that in these trade talks, if that's for Francisco Alvarez, Weaver, I hope that they target a catching prospect that can hit with one of them because, I mean, right now in our system, we have a whole bunch of catchers that can't hit, and Kevin Parada back in Double A.
Yeah. Or Giovanni Rodriguez, who's in rookie ball still.
Yeah, and freaking Diverson Gutierrez. I mean, both of them have looked a little better as of recent, but
Yeah.
nothing where you can be like, oh wow, these guys could possibly be a part of the future.
Yeah. I think to me, you really need to be blown away with a trade proposal if you're going to trade him. And,
Yeah.
the reason why I'm saying that is because, he showed back in 2023 that he's capable of hitting over 20 home runs. We know that he is, right? Do I love the defense? Sometimes. Other times I hate it, right? Whether
Yeah.
it's backhanding balls, getting down on the knee. His mental errors really bother me as well. But again, he's one of those players that debuted so young that like you can't even believe that he's only 24 years old. So to me, again, catching is not an offensive first position. So if you're able to couple him with Luis Torrens behind the dish and you're getting productivity throughout the lineup, then
Mhm.
we're not looking at Francisco Alvarez in this type of lens because he's doing his part as a catcher.
Yeah.
But I think that the need is so high, right? Like I wouldn't trade him to the Yankees. The Yankees are getting jack shit from Austin Wells behind the dish. They're getting nothing. And I know that they're a team that has even inquired about Luis Torrens, bringing him, trying to get him back. I wouldn't trade Luis Torrens.
No.
But
I'd have
Francis,
one capable catcher that stays healthy, and that's Torrens.
yeah, yeah. And listen, if the Mets were to, let's say, trade a Francisco Alvarez, and if they were able to get a haul,
Mm-hmm.
I would do it, but they would need to have some sort of contingency plan in the offseason to pair Torrens with somebody that's capable.
Yeah.
Whether it's Ryan Jeffers, who's a free agent, and I think that he'll garner a ton of interest this offseason. He's somebody. Um, Mitch Garver's a free agent, but again, he's going to be 36. He's a veteran. Like he doesn't hit like that.
Yeah.
Um, so unless the Mets are going to use that to trade for somebody, I want to ensure that there's some sort of contingency plan because I do believe that if a team is desperate enough, they will give the Mets a boatload for a controllable catcher who has shown when he's healthy he can contribute on both sides, whether it be hitting or on the defensive end of things.
Mm-hmm.
But it just depends on what we're getting back, right? And I don't think that much talk has materialized to the point where we can even judge, right? But again, he's got to stay healthy. So I think as we turn this episode, we're going to cap off here with two things. One, we're going to discuss the MLB Draft, which occurred over the last 2 days. The Mets had the 27th overall pick, and they selected right-handed pitcher Carson Wiggins, who was 88th per MLB pipeline coming into the draft. And he's out of the University of Arkansas. He did not pitch for them this past season after internal brace surgery, but he threw as hard as 102 miles per hour. Has a wicked slider as well, and that's something where on LB Pipeline, they grade you 20 through 80. He has an 80 grade fastball, a 70 grade slider, and then his changeup, and he's got one other pitch. Those are a work in progress. His slot value there was $3.466 million, so $3.5 million. You and I were talking during the draft. We knew as soon as they drafted him, he was somebody that they're going to try to sign under slot so they can do more.
Yeah.
But as I'm reading more about it, I kind of liked the idea.
Yeah, I mean, he has a lot of good tools. I mean, that's what baseball draft's all about. It's not like football, it's not hockey. You're not taking basketball, you're not taking like best player available. You're taking the best player that your scouts want,
Yeah.
like for your system. So
And that you could develop. Yeah.
yeah. I thought they let there were some good players on the board there, but you never
I,
know.
yeah,
Really, you never know.
I agree. But then the most surprising one to me, and the Mets did pick some good pieces. They went college heavy. We knew that they were going to do it. Guys who really didn't have any other avenue if they didn't get drafted, right? And they've already signed a bunch of undrafted kids today. But in the third round, the Mets selected somebody that mock drafts had the Mets taking at 27, which was insane. So it's insane that he dropped. But outfielder Aiden Robbins out of the University of Texas. Okay, he slashed 333 with a 426 on base percentage. Slugging percentage was 696. 24 home runs, 64 RBIs in 60 games. He also was 12 out of 13 when it came to stolen bases. Slot value there is a little less than $860,000. What an addition Robbins is to the organization.
Yeah, no, he's a good player. It's gonna be exciting to see him get going, hopefully soon.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think? He's going to start where? St. Lucie?
Usually I think these guys get their feet wet first at Florida Coast League.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I feel like when they're college kids, I feel like they go
Yeah, no,
to
he should go to St. Lucie.
yeah. I mean, we know Carson Wiggins isn't going to pitch this year. He's done. He's done for the year. He'll probably do some light throwing, but
Mm-hmm.
um, those were the first two picks. Obviously, they did not have a second round draft pick due to the tax threshold and signing players and this and that. But just going down the list a little bit, round four, they took left-handed pitcher Shane Stoa. It's Soda, but we're SDOA. So we're switching up the D and the O. Left-hander out of Texas A&M. He also had Tommy John. Mets did a lot of that. Then they took in the fifth round Luke McNeely, right-handed pitcher out of Florida. Alex Petrovic in the sixth round out of Auburn. Aiden Keenan, right-handed pitcher out of Stanford in the seventh round. Landing Koenig out of Mississippi in the eighth round. So again, you're catching a trend here. Then they picked the catcher, Ryan Taman, catcher out of Cal Poly. Nate Eisler in the 10th round took another Ivy League guy. Maybe this one will stick because I know that they traded Truman Pauly, right? The guy from Harvard last year. Maybe he'll
Yeah.
stick in the system. But obviously, then there's one other one that I wanted to mention. Obviously, there were 20 rounds, but in the 11th round, they took Kuhui Aloy, who is the brother of the Orioles first round draft pick from last year, an outfielder out of Arkansas. He slashed 293, 352, 486 slugging percentage, and also hit a 465-foot home run this past season. Obviously, aluminum bats, but again, you're adding depth to the system. Any of the picks stand out to you?
I mean, I don't know much after reading up on them. The catcher Jacob Madrid, the high school kid. It's gonna be
Yeah,
interesting to see if they end up signing him. He committed to Oregon. From what I read, defensive first catcher, but has all the tools to be able to put the power and stuff together. And apparently, people were like, if he puts that all together, he will be a big league catcher. So it'll be interesting. I mean, they did go. I know they didn't have a lot of money, but they went under slot probably on a lot of these guys.
yeah, yeah. And that
So it'll
was
be
the
interesting. They have to be giving that money to somebody. I don't think that money I don't think you can roll money over.
yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I agree. That'll be interesting. I guess we'll see there.
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, yeah. To me, I'm very intrigued with Mr. Aloy, who I mentioned before, the outfielder from Arkansas. They took in the 11th round. Just the raw power, 838 OPS. He also had a sick Cape Cod performance in 2025. Has it in the genes. I think that those were some some just, two guys that kind of keep an eye out for. But again, I think that you and I can both agree with that, you know, definitely high upside when it comes to Carson Wiggins, first overall, 27th pick. Um, Very high upside, but there's definitely a ton of risk involved. So it's going to be interesting to see how that materializes. And then Aiden Robbins, I think. I mean, you're the one who does the top 30 prospects, but I think both of them earn a place there already.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say those two, and then that's probably it for top 30
Yeah,
for now.
We'll see how the others churn
Um,
out. With that, obviously, we mentioned before, first half is officially over. There is 65 games left in the regular season. Thank goodness. Um, Maddie, we're gonna go one for one here. Okay. A through F. Okay. I'm gonna dish out a player. You give me a grade. I'll take the next guy, and so on. Okay. We're gonna start off with DH. Jorge Polanco.
bro's just been fucking hurt. So, I mean,
You could say
do
it.
I, do I just give him an F because
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell
and when he is on the field, he sucks. So
yeah.
yeah, an F.
F. Okay. Yeah. I'll take another DH type. Mark Vientos. Fat, fat,
Oh,
fat F. F
fat and
minus.
lazy, dude.
Fat and lazy and annoying him with his challenges. F minus. He sucks.
Bro's got the itis.
Yeah, he's got the itis. Um, Behind the dish, Luis Torrens.
B. He's always solid.
Yeah, yeah. And dude, that clutch factor. He's so clutch.
He's always solid. So B.
Yeah. Francisco Alvarez, I'll give a C. It would be higher if he could just stay healthy. Obviously, his stint on the IL was short, but like, dude is just so confusing. Sometimes he's got great discipline, and other times he just looks like a moron up at the plate. So,
No.
um, yeah. Um, First base, Jared Young.
Jared Young. Honestly, he really hasn't been bad this year.
No, he's been fun to
Like
watch.
honestly, he's been solid. I'd say C plus.
Okay. He kind of reminds me of like the James Loney in 2016, except we're not in the playoff hunt. Just
Yeah.
someone who's really durable over there at first. Um, let's see, are there any other first basemen? No. Brett Beatty. Brett Beatty sucks. Um, we'll keep him over at third. Second base, Marcus Semien for me. I'm gonna go D minus. I could easily give him an F, but he was on the field for so long until the hip injury. He started hitting the ball right before he got hurt, but I like what he brings to the Mets, but he's just old and washed up. So D minus. If you ask me again this time next year, it'll probably be an F. Um, Brett Beatty.
F.
Yeah, I'm done with him. I'm done with him. Um, Francisco Lindor for me, I think it's incomplete, right? He missed so much time, but I'm gonna give him a C minus just because of where we're at right now. I kind of blame him for getting hurt. Um, this is gonna be a fun one. Matty Bo Bichette.
Horrible at first. So if he kept that going, it would have been a solid F. Kind of turned it around, but did not live up to what we thought we were getting. D.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Um, this will be fun now. All right. Juan Soto for me, A plus plus. The dude's a stud. In the MVP running.
There's only a few people on the team that get over an A.
Yeah, yeah. He's starting in the outfield for the National League tomorrow night, batting second. He's our lone all-star. We love Soto. Soto A plus plus.
Yeah.
Matty AJ Ewing.
A. Can't really like complain about anything. Any of those kids in my
Yeah,
book are over an A.
yeah. I'm gonna get the other one though. For
Yeah.
me, Luis Robert. Okay. Luis Robert F. F. Okay. Looked good when he was healthy and on the field before he got hurt. We haven't seen him
For like
since.
2 weeks.
Yeah, I understand back injuries, but like, come on now. I know he hit a mammoth home run in a rehab game the other night, but like, I don't know. He pisses me off. I can't wait for the Mets to decline his option or try to dump him at the deadline for a bag of balls.
Dude, literally, like I would take like $20 of international bonus pool money and consider that like a win.
Yeah, yeah, win-win. Um, yeah, and then you get the last one, Carson Bench.
A plus. Or yeah, A
Yeah,
plus. I feel like he came in, he made the opening day roster.
struggled.
Wasn't great. Yep, he struggled, went through some adversity, and now he like looks like the real deal. I love seeing him and Ewing like jammed in between Soto.
Yeah, yeah,
Or I
dude.
mean, outside
Yeah,
you.
filling out the outfield. Yeah, and even they
Yeah.
asked Soto today, who do you think's going to join me in the All-Star game? Who do you think's going to join you in the All-Star game in 2027? And he's like Benjamin Ewing, Benjamin Ewing. And then he also,
Mhm.
obviously the media loves to say that him and Lindor hate each other, but he said Lindor is going to bounce back as well. He's gonna be back here. So, you know,
I
Jerry
think
Jerry.
I think all of them have literally thrown in the towel. They know they're done.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So there's no
absolutely.
fire under anybody's ass. So like I really don't understand why they wouldn't just, make these trades that they have to make and strengthen the farm system. But the report came out that the Mets are going to be they're going to be looking there. They want the best talent. So
Yep, yep, yep. All right, we still have pitchers. Let's go rapid fire here. Nolan McLean.
B plus.
Okay. Freddie Peralta, D minus.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, Kodai Senga.
F. Actually, DFA.
Yeah, yeah, DFA. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, Zach Thornton, to me, it's too small of a sample size, but A so far.
yeah.
Christian Scott,
B plus.
B plus. I would have given him an A. You're tough, man. You're tough.
Tough
Um,
grader in
yeah,
school, dude.
yeah. Sean Manaea for me, I'm gonna give a C. Started off terribly, but has really, really looked good since. He's been starting
Yeah.
games. I wouldn't be surprised if some team that needs healthy starting pitching asks about him. The Mets would have to take on a ton of money, but that may be something the Mets look to do. We'll see. But yeah, would I give him a C? Yeah, I just said it.
Yeah.
All right, going to the bullpen. Xavier Curry. No, I'm just kidding. We're not grading him. One of the million roster maneuvers this past week.
Yeah.
Devin Williams.
D plus.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I would say. D plus, C minus.
Yeah.
Luke Weaver. Luke Weaver. A plus. A
A
plus.
plus.
I'm forgetting April. A plus.
Yeah.
Brooks Raley.
A. He's
Yeah,
been rock solid, especially for his age, contract. A.
yeah, yeah. Oscar Brasbon for me. B plus.
Yeah.
One of
I
those two.
agree.
He's had his moments where he's gotten hit a little
Aside from
bit.
his implosion last week.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what it brings down to the
Yeah.
to the B's. AJ Minter.
B.
Yeah, he's been
Aside
solid.
from being hurt, he's done what he's needed to do.
Yeah, yeah. CNL Perez for me, and never even heard of him before this year. But I guess, whatever. C minus. Who really cares about CNL? And then lastly, I'll give this one to you. Obviously he's not a bullpen piece, but Clay Holmes for the
Clay
9
Holmes
starts.
for the 9 starts, B plus. He looked
Yeah,
good over those 9.
yeah. Oh,
You
let me give
also
you
throw
another.
Tobias Myers in there, and he's looked like shit. He gets a D.
Yeah, yeah. He gets a D. Yeah. The beginning Tobias Myers and the Tobias Myers we're seeing now is two completely different
Yeah,
people.
it's wild.
Yeah, and then we'll throw this one in because he made 95% of his outings with the Mets this year. David Peterson, fat F.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So with that, those are our player grades. And it took a little bit longer than we wanted to, but whatever. We had to throw the CNL Perez's and the of the world in there. But just looking ahead tonight is the home run derby. Should be a fun one. This episode will be out probably after it concludes, so we'll know who had won already. Maddie, you got a favorite there?
Caminero.
Junior? Okay. All right. I'm going Kyle Schwarber.
You're
After
going
seeing
Schwarbaum.
Yeah, in his home ballpark, after seeing him do what he did in the All-Star game last year and that extra inning home run derby thing, he's just
Yeah.
Schwarber's a dog.
Dude was worth every fucking dollar for them.
Every dollar. Every dollar. Imagine if the Mets signed Pete Alonso. Now,
Mm.
and then tomorrow night is the All-Star game. Let's go Juan Soto, represent the orange and blue. Even if you don't want to represent it, it will be Dylan Cease for the AL taking on Christopher Sanchez, which is just a home nod because Christopher Sanchez has looked like garbage over his last few starts, but that's what it is. And then the Mets are back at it on Thursday, and they'll be in Philadelphia where the All-Star game is. It'll be Christian Scott taking on Aaron Nola. These are just the tentatives. It's very interesting. Then they have off on Friday. They play Saturday, Sunday. Saturday, it is Sean Manaea taking on Zach Wheeler. Sunday, it is Nolan McLean taking on Jesus Luzardo. Then they go to Milwaukee for some fun. Really, hell of a way to start off the second half. If you ever dreamt of pulling a 73 Mets or a 69 Mets. 3 in Milwaukee, it'll be Freddie Peralta making his return to Milwaukee. He'll be opposed by Jacob Mizorowski, who the Mets beat up last year, but Miz is on another level this year, so we'll see how that turns out. Zach Thornton will then make his 4th start of his major league career. Hopefully he gets that first win. Brewers have not announced a starter yet, and then the finale, it'll be Christian Scott taking on Logan Henderson. And with that, episode 14 is in the books. Maddie, you got anything else for us?
No. Should be a good home run derby, and everybody enjoy a few days without the Mets, and hopefully that helps everyone's mental health.
Yeah, hopefully it helps everyone's mental health. The next couple of weeks will be fun, not only with the Derby and the All-Star game, but then obviously heading into the trade deadline. Hopefully the Mets can capitalize wherever they can, really fortify the system, and hopefully the bright spots for the remainder of the season in the Benj and the Ewing and the Soto, and hopefully Lindor and Thornton and McLean and Scott, this, that, and the third. Hopefully they can continue to shine. So at least we have something to look forward to, for 2027. Again, hopefully there is a season. With that being said, remember to give us a follow on Instagram, YouTube, and X. We are at Cup of Mets. Subscribe to the podcast, whether it be on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And last but not least, download the SeatGeek app. Use code Cup of Mets at first purchase to get $20 off. And for Maddie DeSantis, I'm Ian Bosniak. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.
Let's go, Mets.